Oh, I think we're close, and then we'll have a practice, and somebody will really stand out. Somebody that maybe had been great takes a step back. So still got some time. May not be completely set by the exhibition games that we have next week against Peru State and against Colorado. And then we've got a little time before we open up with our regular season opener on November 9th. So we still have some time to figure it out. I've probably got 12 or 13 right now that certainly are capable of putting out there in a game, but obviously I can't play that many. So we'll see how it all plays out. We get two good opportunities to see some different lineups, different combinations in the exhibitions, and continue to put them in competitive environments in practice. So we've got a good core, I think, that have established themselves, but we've also got some guys that are really improving as we've gone along, sort of in this training camp period that we've had. And again, it may not be the same on opening night on the 9th that it is once we hit conference play. There's still going to be some things that will probably be ironed out over that time. The good thing is it's a good problem to have. We do have plenty of guys that I'm confident and comfortable putting in games, and that's, like I said, a good problem to have when you have that many, and then it's just figuring it out, making sure that we're transparent in our communication with roles and how they will play out.
How are practices going right now? Like you said, you got to wait till the exhibition for another 9-10 days to the actual game.
Yeah, Chris, our guys are so sick and tired of beating on each other, and we've spent so much time together, which obviously is a good thing. We didn't have the luxury of spending the amount of time last year that we have been able to this year. And this goes all the way back to June 8th. That's when our guys stepped on campus for the first time in the first summer session period. And then you have the whole month of July, and then your guys go home for 3 weeks, and then you have fall workouts, and then normal practices started, I believe, on the 27th. So there's so much time now that you're spending together. And the rules are we can only play against each other until the exhibitions start. Back in the old days when I played, it was pick up all summer, pick up in the fall, October 15th hit, and man, we were so excited for that first practice, but now there's so much time. That first practice rolls around, the guys walk in, dragging a little bit just because of the amount of time we've spent together. So you just have to try to keep it fresh, try to keep it as competitive as possible, and hope your guys go out and respond and take steps in the right direction every day, which I think we have. We're getting better. Certainly we have a long way to go, as all teams, I think, do at this time of year. Especially when you're integrating new players in, with some of the established guys, younger players, freshmen that are definitely going to have roles on this team. And there's some setbacks along the way. But if you have leadership and you continue to improve and use those as learning opportunities, hopefully come opening night, we'll be where we need to be.
Do you like the way the exhibition season kind of sets up with the different levels of
I do. Looking at Peru State's roster, I've seen a lot of those players when my kids were going through playing at Pius. Hard playing, talented, athletic players. So that's going to be a good test for us. That first game against Peru. I know they really like their team this year, so that'll provide a great test for us. And then the opportunity to compete against a high major opponent, able to raise money for charity in that game on Halloween against Colorado. Will be another great opportunity for our team. And again, we'll play a lot of guys in those games, and hopefully learn a lot about ourselves.
With that Colorado game in particular, how much do you want to see what the group you think is going to be your main core, how they respond against a preseason top 35 team, but then also experiment with different lineup combinations and see how those go?
Yeah, it is. It's a great opportunity, as I said, to play against one of the top teams in the Pac-12, a guy in Tad Boyle that I have a ton of respect for. Coached against him actually when Colorado was still in the Big 12. When I got the job at Iowa State, Nebraska was in the Big 12 at that time as well. But I've got so much respect for Tad, excuse me, and how hard his teams play and how well his teams play together. I think we'll be able to learn a lot, from them in that game with how they play together, and that's historically what's been the makeup of Tad Boyle's teams. As far as going out there, sure, we're going to try to win every time we step on the floor. At the same time, not get completely lost in the fact that we still have some work to do on figuring out our rotation. So we will play a lot of guys that night, but every time we step on the floor, sure we want to win.
Are you going to do a secret scrimmage or anything like that?
No, we're just going to do the 2 exhibitions. Yep.
Trey was talking at Media Day about a team meeting that the guys had before they all went back home during the summer, and they're talking about everyone buying into their roles and that sort of thing. Did you know about that beforehand, and well, I guess, was that more of their decision on their own, or did you?
Yeah, yeah, I knew the guys got together before they went home, and sounds like that was very productive when they got in that room and talked. And there's been several of those since that point where, you know, coaches will be in there, we'll be talking about things that we need to grow from and things that we need to learn, and then the players will sit in there and talk about it. And that's where you have growth, is when you can sit there and have an honest conversation with the teammate that's sitting across the locker room from you and have constructive criticism where you're not taking it personal. That's where you have growth, when you have that accountability within your team. We've been really good at times, and we've also been very poor at times where we have taken it personal. And, you know, you have to avoid those situations and continue to try to put them in adverse situations. That's going to be the true test, is how are we going to be able to fight through adversity? Because those 5-minute stretches where things aren't going your way, if you don't continue to battle through it, you're going to dig yourself a huge hole. We've been, like I said, good at times handling the adversity, and at times we've struggled with it. But again, we've got a couple weeks, we've got a couple games to hopefully learn a lot about ourselves heading into the opener on the 9th.
How have you seen Wilhelm kind of come along? I think he's one of the guys we're talking to today. How have you seen him come along?
Wilhelm's been phenomenal. Derek had a little bit of an illness, and we've been very cautious when we've had guys that haven't felt good to keep them away from the team. We do have 100% vaccination, which I'm proud of our group for doing that. But you know, when Derek was out for that stretch, I was playing Wilhelm with that first group, and he was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So, you know, a guy that can play multiple positions on the floor. He can play both front court spots. Thing about Wilhelm, you're never going to have to worry about what he gives you. He plays with incredible effort and intensity. He gets hacked, fouled, don't call it. He is sprinting back the other way and getting ready to defend on the other end. And, you know, normally with younger players, you have to teach them through those moments. But, you know, Wilhelm's just one of those guys that comes in and you know what you're going to get from him. A guy that can certainly stretch the floor, move the big away from the basket, and really compete on the other end. He's not afraid to get his, you know, get dirty in there and go and grind it out against bigger, stronger, more athletic players. But, you know, just his makeup is what makes him special. And his very unique skill set for a guy that's 6'10", that can make shots and can pass and make plays like he can.
Getting his knee healthy, was there something you wanted to see him, you know, maybe just improve that?
Yeah, just I think the biggest thing with Wilhelm is just continuing to make plays and go out there, get comfortable at this level. He showed it in the AAU season. He showed it in high school. You know, now that you're playing against better competition and more athletic players, every time he steps on the floor, just want to see him continue to grow in his playmaking ability. And again, we put the ball in his hands some, and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And again, that's rare for a freshman.
What was sort of your challenge to him going into?
Yeah, again, another guy you just know what you're going to get from, and he's always in the right spot defensively. He's always in his gap, plays with great effort. Obviously a guy that can make shots at a high level, and he had several games last year where he kept us in, and also games where he stretched a lead, especially when we figured it out late in the year last year. So just a big part of excuse me, what we're trying to do and how we're trying to play.
I know he was kind of in and out of workouts, maybe some practices with back issue or whatever, but is that going to be something you're going to have to try to manage over the course of the whole season?
Yeah, he's been fine. He did miss quite a bit of the summer, just and again, with Lat, we know what we're going to get from him. Wasn't as important to have him out there knowing the system already. We just wanted to make sure he was 100% healthy before we put him out there in full activity, so we didn't make it a lingering issue for him. And he's responded great. He's one of our best as far as doing his rehab and his mobilities after practice. You know, he's great getting in there, working on his legs, flushing them out, sitting in the cold tub. So he's really figured out his body and you know, when to do extra work, when to maybe back off, and put himself in a really good position going into the season. He's in great shape right now, and he's not missed a practice since we started.
When do you get a sense of what kind of team it's going to be from like a tempo standpoint, when to push and pull on that?
Yeah, I'm still trying to get us more consistent in that area. When we play with really good pace and tempo, we're hard to guard. When we come down, even in the half court, when we're going through execution segments, we still have times where we're struggling with the cutting and reading a defense and that type of thing. We do segments every day on it. And again, sometimes we're really good. Sometimes if it gets a little physical, we'll back off a little bit. So, you know, I'm just looking for overall consistency in everything we're doing. But when we play with pace, we're a pretty tough team to guard. And we've shown an ability as we've gone along as far as making simple plays more. We were turning the ball over way too much early, but we've taken a huge step in the right direction with that these last probably 3 or 4 weeks, and you have to have it. Last year we turned it over obviously way too much, and it cost us games.
Wilhelm, you mentioned that he's good. He competes well on the defensive end, but he's obviously one of the slighter guys. You got a couple of those guys who are younger and probably could put a few more pounds on in the weight room. How important is that physical strength on the defensive end?
Well, it's important, but you look at the gains that Wilhelm has made since he's been here, and I'll take where he is right now with where he started, and he's made great progress with his explosiveness and with his body and his weight. And again, he's one of those wiry, strong guys, and there's some that are built like that. I played with Reggie Miller, who never missed a game. He was so durable, but he just didn't put on a lot of size. But he's done everything we've asked him to do. Gets into the training table, making sure he's putting the right food and right things in his body. I've just been so impressed with Wilhelm's overall makeup, and he will be a big part of the rotation on this year's team.
Is it harder for those guys, like when they're putting on the weight, is it harder for that to show because they're so long? Is that thing? I've heard that before.
That's not really a question for me. I was a finance major. I don't know.
You brought Verge to media days, and he was a big presence at the Midnight Madness you guys have. What's he brought in terms of leadership and experience?
Yeah, he brings a great energy to practice. He's got good energy off the floor as well with the guys. Great for team chemistry. He's just one of those guys who's got a really infectious personality. And the one thing I've really told him what people are looking for is how he can lead a team. And he played a lot off the ball last year with Remy Martin, handling a lot of the point guard responsibilities. He really can score the ball and make tough shots. We're just really talking about making simple plays, which he's done a great job of. He got guys a lot of wide open looks today in practice. We didn't make them, but he's making the right play, and that's all we're asking of him right now. I've really been impressed with his on-ball defense. He can really get into the ball, pressure the ball. Need, again, consistency across the board with our entire team in that area, but just as far as what he's brought us at the point guard position, I've been very impressed with Alonzo.
Is that a tough balance with certain guys about they want their creativity, but finding that?
Yeah, you don't want to take away instincts, and he's got great instincts as a basketball player. He's a good finisher. He's got a nice floater in the paint. Shots that probably aren't considered, well, they're not considered high percentage shots, but he makes them. And if you show over time you can make a high percentage, you have to live with some of those. And again, a guy that can really get it going when he gets hot, he's a hard guy to stop, and then he's a hard guy to keep in front. And then sucking in the defense with the shooting that we've added to this year's team, it could make for some pretty tough lineups to defend. A lot of that because of Alonso's playmaking.
He's got that unique sort of one-footer off-balance shot that he likes in the mid-range. What kind of weapon can that be for him?
Yeah, again, I don't love the off-balance one-footers. I'd rather, under control when he gets playing off 2 feet in the paint, he's pretty darn good. And again, coming to a jump stop, surveying the floor, surveying where the help is coming from, and making the right play. And not just Alonzo, I'm talking about our whole team with that. And we have grown early on, getting in there, taking whether it was the really tough one or trying to force a pass without coming to a jump stop. We do drills, making simple plays every day, and it's starting to carry over. I've been happy with the way that we have grown in taking care of the basketball.
What have you seen from Trey kind of in that same area in regards to improving his efficiency inside the arc?
Yeah, that's what we talk about with our guys all the time, is being more efficient players. And the efficiency of going out there and making the right play. I know I've talked about this a lot, hitting singles instead of trying to go in there and force things and hit home runs. Sometimes making the simple one is good enough. And if you go out there and make the right play consistently over the course of the game and take care of the basketball and get a shot up on the board, I feel we've got enough weapons that can make shots and make plays. We just really have to trust and make sure we're making the simple play the right play.